Did you know that there are 3 clear signs you're experiencing a spiritual awakening? And most people totally miss them, so they end up feeling restless and confused, questioning life, but not really knowing what's going on with them. To stop that from happening to you, I'm going to reveal the 3 signs you're going through an awakening that have consistently shown up for me and my clients, so you can quickly gain clarity and confidently navigate your awakening. To start, let's talk about the first sign, something that can feel incredibly overwhelming and confusing if you're not aware of what's happening. One of the clearest signs I've seen in myself and others going through an awakening is drastic changes happening inside the mind. For over 3 years during my own awakening, I genuinely felt like I was going insane. My mind was flooded with racing thoughts, and when I say racing, I really mean racing. From the moment that I opened my eyes each morning, my mind, it felt like it was bombarded by a constant stream of confusing, disturbing, negative thoughts. All of my worries, fears, and anxieties just were present in my mind, and it felt like an endless loop that I couldn't escape. And the hardest part for me was getting trapped in these obsessive mental loops. So, for example, I would fixate on one trigger, like an issue within my relationship or an old fear, and I would feel like a hamster stuck on a wheel, unable to think about anything else but that thing over and over and over again. I would even try meditating to quiet my mind, but it rarely worked because the momentum of these thoughts was just too strong. A few months ago, a subscriber emailed me describing exactly this experience, and here's what he said. "I can't quite let go of these disturbing, intrusive thoughts. Usually I handle intrusive thoughts pretty well, but these particular ones feel like the raid bosses of intrusive thoughts. It's difficult to just be aware and let them go." By the way, raid bosses in video games are extremely powerful, challenging enemies that often require a group of players to defeat. And I really feel like he summarized this experience of mental disturbances and intrusive thoughts really well. So the first clear sign you're experiencing a spiritual awakening is this: intense mental disturbances. Obsessive thinking, intrusive negative thoughts, racing mind, and even the feeling of almost like multiple conflicting voices inside your head. I know that this mental state can feel quite endless, and it certainly felt that way for me, but I want to reassure you, please don't believe you'll be stuck here forever. I promise you, if you keep moving through this experience and doing the inner work, it will pass. There absolutely is a way out. Alongside these mental disturbances, you'll likely notice a growing desire to spend more time alone. Let me show you why this happens. As your awakening unfolds, you might find yourself less interested in socializing, seeing friends, attending events, or spending a lot of time out there in the external world. Here's what's happening. You're suddenly receiving a flood of new information. So imagine your senses have been turned up, almost like the volume on a stereo, and now you're picking up signals, insights, reflections you weren't previously aware of. And it's a lot to process all at once, and it can feel quite overwhelming. So until now, you've probably spent most of your life focused outward on the external world and everything happening around you and outside of you. But now, as you're awakening, you're becoming deeply aware of your internal world, your emotions, your thoughts, your beliefs, old wounds and patterns. It's a lot to take in, and this inner world is rich with insights and realizations you've never noticed before. So naturally, you might feel the urge to withdraw, spend time alone, and even go into a full-on hermit mode. And this is exactly what I experienced too. I spent a lot of time alone at home during my awakening, and not only did I feel overwhelmed and anxious, thinking that I would crumble if I spent too much time around others. But I also struggled to handle the harsh realities and uncomfortable truths I was suddenly seeing in the world around me. And honestly, it just all felt like too much. I remember feeling anxious just thinking about seeing certain people or being in certain situations. And if I was forced to go there, or if I agreed to go there, even if I didn't want to, I would often feel shut down. I would become quiet and kind of withdraw. So I would be sitting there surrounded by people, but I wasn't really present. I was really just in my own world inside my mind, probably ruminating over the obsessive thoughts that I was having. And small talk also became almost unbearable. Honestly, once you start seeing the bigger picture and become deeply aware of your inner world and the complexities, the last thing you want to discuss is the weather, sports, or the news. So the second clear sign you're experiencing a spiritual awakening is this increased desire to be alone and withdraw socially. But there's something else that goes hand in hand with this desire for solitude: increased energetic sensitivity. Let me show you exactly why this happens. Remember how I said that I didn't want to be around certain people or places? So it wasn't just because small talk felt unbearable or external stimulation was overwhelming. It was also because I'd become incredibly sensitive to energy. My energetic sensitivity increased so much, I could literally feel the energy around me wherever I went. So sometimes, for example, I would be around certain groups at events, I would be around certain people, certain situations, and I would immediately sense this almost heavy and icky energy, especially at parties or gatherings where there were a lot of substances and where people weren't fully conscious or present. Other times I would meet a new person, and even if they seemed perfectly nice, said the right things, my internal alarm bells, almost like my spidey senses, would start tingling, telling me that something was off. So the third clear sign you're experiencing a spiritual awakening is this heightened energetic sensitivity. You're becoming more sensitive to certain places, people, and also your own energy limits. So if in the past you, for example, regularly pushed yourself beyond your capacity or said yes when you actually meant no, now you might find you simply can't do that anymore. Now you're really being called to check in with yourself. So you might say, no thanks, I don't want to do this, I don't want to see these people because my energy says no, I don't want to be there, I don't want to do this, I simply want to stay home and withdraw myself. And honestly, that's a good thing. I mean, your increased sensitivity helps you establish clearer boundaries, trust your intuition, and also honor your true self. Now that you know these three clear signs, here's what I really want you to understand. You are not crazy. I know firsthand how overwhelming and confusing awakening can be. And as I was going through my awakening, I genuinely thought that I was losing my mind and I was going crazy. So please hear me clearly. You're not crazy. You're not simply, being called into a profound transformation and deep inner growth. And yes, it can be challenging, and it will be, and it might take longer than you would like. I'm so sorry. But I promise that this transformation is worth it. If you're feeling alone or disconnected during your awakening, there are powerful tips that you can use right now to reconnect deeply with yourself and others. So watch this video next to learn exactly how to do this.